Everyone, my name is Joel Whitney. I work with the team at Brooklyn Public Library that presents arts and culture events. We couldn't be more pleased for this special online screening and talkback around the Mauritanian with our partners at the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. Many of you have seen Jodie Foster win a Golden Globe for Best Actress in her pajamas. And throughout her appearances around the film, she's been singling out Tahar Rahim, the wonderful French actor, for his own incredible nominated performance. He was nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama. Congratulations, Tahar. We're happy he's here, and we'll be in this conversation with the real-life minds and hearts and voices behind this story. The lawyer, Nancy Hollander, welcome, and of course, Mohamedou Slahi. Congratulations on this film and on your new novel. I know I speak for others at the library and its Arts and Culture Department when I say welcome to our virtual Brooklyn Public Library in space. And I know I'm not the only one who followed this case since it unfolded starting 20 years ago with the attacks of September on the Twin Towers and all kinds of bad foreign policy by the US before that. Part of how some of us in the library followed this is through the work of the fourth co-conversant and moderator, Larry Seams at the Knight First Amendment Institute, who worked with Mohamedou on My Guantanamo Diary. It's a pleasure to work with you all, and it's a pleasure to present this with Larry and work with Larry again. Thanks to everyone at the Institute. We're presenting this conversation first in honor of where our panelists are around the globe. It'll go for about 25 more minutes. Then you should click the STX links you got in your inbox for this extraordinary film to watch it at 3:30. If you aren't yet registered for the film, my colleague Binyam is dropping the link into the chat so you can get on the waiting list because the film is full, referring back, of course, to what I said earlier about the Golden Globes, et cetera, et cetera. But please stay and listen into this conversation with these great minds. If you want to stay engaged with BPL Presents and the library as well, Binyam's dropping in the social media links for that. But please, without any further ado, welcome Larry Seams, who will lead us through the conversation.
Thank you, Joel, and thank all of you for joining us today. On behalf of the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia and the Brooklyn Public Library, welcome to what is for me an extremely special event. As Joel said, we only have a few minutes, and so we'll break at 3:25 sharp, so you all have time to log into the screening. So we're going to talk quickly. I promise we'll do our best to avoid spoilers, but I also want to have a conversation about the deep context of what brings us all together. Several years ago, not long after I met Nancy Hollander, she described her most recent flight back from visiting Mohamedou in Guantanamo. She had transferred from the military flight that is the only way for lawyers to access their clients in Gitmo to the commercial flight that would take her home to Albuquerque, New Mexico. On that flight, she had a chatty seatmate who, after filling her in on his travel plans, asked where she was coming from. Guantanamo, she said. Is that place still open? The man said. At the time, I knew a fair amount about what had happened and what was still happening in Guantanamo, and it was kind of easy for me to roll my eyes at the man's question. But knowing and understanding are two different things, as I discovered again and again throughout the process of bringing Mohamedou's extraordinary memoir to print and coming to know Mohamedou as a colleague and a friend. And I discovered this again as I watched the final cut of The Mauritanian. This time, it was the extraordinary performance of Tahar Rahim, who, like Mohamedou in the writing of Guantanamo Diary, managed to sneak so much emotional information in under the surface of every scene that I was able to grasp in a new way the magnitude of Mohamedou's ordeal. Not just the suffering, but the unimaginable endurance and resilience it would require of a human being to make it through to the other side. That human being is the reason we're all here. And I just want to begin by saying how grateful I am to know you, Mohamedou, and ask if you have any thoughts or greetings you want to share to kick off the conversation.
So, thank you, everyone. This is like beyond my wildest dream. And I'm very humble, to tell everyone that my biggest characterization is that I've been a political prisoner for more than 20 years. And I would like to welcome my brother, the star of this gathering, Tahar Rahim, and I want to congratulate him to his nomination and to the win of Jodie Foster. To tell you a secret, in the family here, we knew where the Golden Globe going to go, because out of respect for the deceased, we knew where it goes. I'm not going to talk around anything, but in my heart and everybody's heart, and everybody who talked to me, they said, Taha Rahim, what he did in the Mauritanian, it's beyond anything. Everybody said that. We read a lot of critics, but everybody was unanimous that Taha Rahim did something that is beyond anyone's imagination. And I'm so happy and so glad and so proud to be Taha Rahim's brother, and that to be from the same background. Given that Guantanamo Bay was built for a certain kind of people and a certain backgrounds. And Taha Rahim, the beautiful face of peace and of art and of just extraordinary performance, is something I want to be proud of. And I tell everyone I had a chance to relive my younger years. Thank you very much for inviting us.
That's a perfect transition.
I love you, man.
Tahar, I'm just going to follow up with that and join with Mohamedou in congratulating you on the Golden Globe nomination and all the other much deserved recognition for your extraordinary performance. And just sort of, to follow up on the point that Mohamedou is inching toward about your background and this experience, can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to do this film?
Oh, for many reasons. First of all, I want to say that none of this would have been possible without you, Mohamedou. You became a real inspiration in my own private life. So this is the best thing I took out of the movie, more than everything else, than anything else. It's you. So thank you. And you're part of my family, too, brother. I was, of course, the part is great when you just look at it as an actor. You're like, okay, there's a lot of challenges and it's a beautiful part. But when you know that it's a true story, I felt sad, I felt angry, and I was pleasantly surprised to know that it's possible to reach such a level of wisdom, even if you went through this. And of course, usually I used to be offered some, when it was about, Middle Eastern people, North African people, the offers I had were stereotypicals, and I didn't want to be a vehicle to tell those type of stories that I don't even want to see as an audience member. And in this one is way beyond that, because it's about universal values, about humanity, about forgiveness, about changing people, changing people's mind, helping the world in a way to be a finest place. It's about the rule of law as well, and how much we need more Nancy's and more Mohamedou's on earth to make it a finest place. So I really wanted to be part of the people who wanted to do justice to Mohamedou.
Nancy, I'm thinking again about your seatmate on that flight from Guantanamo and the knowledge gap that exists around what happened and is happening in Guantanamo. And of course, much of that gap is deliberate. It's the result of a secrecy regime that was built into the prison camp from the beginning. Secrecy was the ingredient that enabled the torture and human rights abuses to take place. And it's the mechanism that continues to make it difficult to hold anyone accountable for those crimes. And nobody navigates that knowledge gap more than the attorneys who represent clients there. Can you describe a little bit about how secrecy operates at Guantanamo, how it affects the attorneys who seek to represent the prisoners, and how it affected the process of creating and preserving Mohamedou's manuscript?
Well, secrecy is the overlay of Guantanamo because it was created as a secret place, a place President Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld, they all wanted a place where there would be no rights, no lawyers. They didn't have an end game in mind, what was going to happen in the end, but they figured nobody was going to be here to take care of these people and they could do whatever they wanted to them. Now, fortunately, the US Supreme Court didn't let that much happen, but secrecy continued to be a problem and continues to this day to be a problem. We were able, for example, to get Mohamedou's medical records out through the Freedom of Information Act because we did it in 2005. People who tried to do that in 2007, 8, 9 couldn't get the records. And without those records, we would not have been able to prove that Mohamedou's ribs were broken the way he said they were, that the torture was used specifically the way the doctor said it shouldn't have been, for example. Things were redacted. There have been meetings to all the way through this case where we'd see a note, ex parte meeting, the prosecutor and the judge. And we're not even allowed to know what it was about. The judge finally said to the prosecutor, can you just kind of give him an idea? He said, no idea. So we have no idea. In terms of the book, Mohamedou wrote this as letters to me. He started writing. I said, just keep writing them, send them as letters. That way we can get them out. And they came to us. They were privileged, attorney-client privileged, but we wanted ultimately at the end of the year, it was all done in 2005. He wrote all of the 466 pages in a period of 6 months. At the end, it was obvious that this was a book and we tried to get it out and we litigated this for years and we kept losing. So Mohamedou finally agreed to give up the attorney-client privilege, let it come out because we didn't think there was anything to harm him. And then it took another 2 years until one day it just showed up. 7 years just to get this manuscript into our hands and then into Larry's hands. That ought to be the best example of lack of transparency in Guantanamo.
And one of the things that the film really dramatizes effectively is how lucky we are that we have the manuscript, how lucky and how clever what you did, Mohamedou and Nancy, to make sure that it survived that secrecy regime. Here is the form in which it was released. This is the 466 words that you'll see Mohamedou writing. Mohamedou and I finally met about a month after he was released. And one of the first things that Mohamedou said to me was that he wanted to repair the damage that the US government had done to the manuscript, that he wanted to publish a new edition of Guantanamo Diary that erased the erasures and filled in the blanks. Mohamedou, can you talk a little bit about why publishing what we called the restored edition was so important to you?
Writing in the first place was a way to get back at those who destroyed my life, took me away from my mother. The last thing I could see from my mother was just as you saw in the movie. I saw her in the rearview mirror, praying, raising her hand to that I'd come back safe and sound. And I couldn't do anything. I don't have airplanes. I don't have B-52. I don't have weapon of mass destruction. I don't have FBI. I don't have the police. All I have is my pen. And even that I don't have. In the beginning, I used to steal pen and paper from my neighbors. Thou shalt not steal, but you could borrow, definitely. And when they redacted my book heavily, I was so insulted because it's like someone called you to testify and they kept sabotaging you. They kept just muffling you during your testimony. so as not to give complete and contextual testimony. And I said, I need to repair this damage, and I tried my best. It's not 100% because I couldn't remember everything. And it was like my revenge. If you ask me, did you take revenge? I say, yes. The book was a revenge. The restored edition was a revenge. Ahmed and Zarga that I wrote in Guantanamo Bay, and this was taken away from me, and I wrote it here, was a revenge. And the movie was a testimony that the pen wins against the sword.
Ahmed and Zarga is the actual true story of Ahmed and Zarga, which is an extraordinary novel that Mohamedou wrote a first draft of in Guantanamo, and is just out this week from University of Ohio Press. Please read it. It's a joy. As you were going through the manuscript, as you were doing the restored edition, it was clear that you were having to relive experiences. And I think this movie, in some ways, has been a process of reliving for a lot of people involved. Nancy, for you, what was it like for you to arrive on the set in South Africa and watch the filming of the Gitmo scenes?
Arriving in South Africa in January was amazing for two reasons. First of all, Mohamedou and I had not seen each other for a couple of years. I was in Mauritania when he first got out and a couple times after that. But it'd been almost 2 years since we saw each other. So we got to be together. I watched 3 scenes. Since people haven't seen the movie, I won't say too much about what they were about, but one of them, first of all, I will say that when I walked onto the set and walked in to see the green mesh in Guantanamo, I gasped. Mohamedou was there with me. I just gasped. I said, I feel like I'm back there. Do you remember that little hole, Mohamedou, that you poked in the green stuff so you could see me coming? And that was incredible. And then he and I watched some scenes together, one of which we both started crying. And I watched the scene of Mohamedou arriving in Guantanamo, which was a very difficult scene to watch. It just, I'm sure for Mohamedou, it was even worse, but it took me back. The people playing the guards reminded me of the guards. I said, I feel like I have to say sir to them and that they're going to tell me what to do. So it was really amazing. It's amazing to me that this movie ever got made, much less that I got to watch it being made. And Tahar knows this, and I want to make sure to say this, but I've told Tahar this. I've watched this movie a dozen times since then. And at one point, I really felt that I was watching Mohamedou when I was watching Tahar. He was just, it was so good. It was so good.
I'm sorry to say we're almost running out of time already, but I want to
Thank
get
you, Nancy.
one more round of the questions to Mohamedou and Tahar in the same vein. I was lucky enough to see the filming of the scenes that were shot in Mauritania, which included the remarkable and wrenching scene early in the film when Mohamedou is detained and says goodbye for the last time to his mother. And now when I see that scene, which was shot in his mother's house, I'm seeing also all the others who were watching the filming with me. Mohamedou, as your brothers and your sisters, your nieces and your nephews, dozens of your friends and neighbors watching from the rooftops anywhere they could get a view. I know it's hard for you to talk about what it was like for you personally to watch the filming of many scenes, but can you say a little bit about your family's experience, what they went through during those 15 years, and what it was like for them that night to watch the moment of your disappearance being filmed?
This is, I was taken in total silent and silencing, total silence of the free world, watching people getting kidnapped everywhere, tortured, disappeared, rendered, because they look different. They are from different background. in completely silencing of my family. They were threatened, you know. They cannot talk about me. They cannot say anything. They cannot contact lawyers. They cannot contact. But that night, so many cars and so many people, that was like the world in Nancy, in Taha Rahim, in Kevin McDonald, in all of you, my brothers and sisters, coming and saying, we are not shutting up. We are going to put this on the big screen for everyone to watch, and we are going to redo it in the very same place as it happened, the very same door, in the very same street. That was the biggest gift you could give to my family, and thank you, and Allah bless you.
Tahar, just to close, what was it like for you filming those scenes in and around Mohamedou's house after the, you know, at the end, these were the last week of filming, and to sort of come home that way? What was that like?
Technically, it was great because I knew exactly what happened to Mohamedou. We shot it before, and I could find a way to understand how hard it could be to be taken away from your family. And they welcomed us perfectly, I gotta say, because there's the shooting, and behind the scenes we were, you know, tea and sugar, and people, they really wanted to help. They wanted to give love. But knowing that everything happened in this very place was heartbreaking and very helpful at the same time. But I remember I was wandering in this sandy road. I'm thinking of those last moments you saw your mom in the rearview mirror. And I thought of my mom as well, because she also passed away. So we had that in common. And yeah, so I could put myself in your shoes, and it was not that hard to do because we were in this very same place. And yeah, I felt sad.
Well, I have many more questions, but I promised that I would let you go at 3:25 so everybody can log in and get screened. Just thank you so much, Nancy, Mohamedou, Tahar. Great to see you again. Thank you all for joining us. I'm sorry we can't speak longer, but the film is more eloquent than certainly anything that I can say. So enjoy it. Please feel free to, you know, get to the Knight First Amendment Institute and the Brooklyn Public Library with your feedback, messages for Tahar and Mohamedou and Nancy, which we can pass along. And again, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Well, great to see you.
Thank you.
Beautiful to see you. Bye.
Thanks
Bye,
and
everyone.
congratulations to everyone. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Mohamedou. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Tahar. Once again, if you got to register, then you'll get a link from STX. You should go in, log in now for the 3:30 screening. If you did not, then you should follow the link that my colleague Binyam sent, where you can get on the waiting list in case some people don't show up. You'll be quickly notified and you'll be able to log in that way. Once again, you can follow us on BPL Presents. We're so happy to work with the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia. Mohamedou, congratulations. Nancy, Tahar, once again, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye. It was great to see you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Tahar. Bye.
Hi, Tahar.
Bye, Nancy.